morning, everyone. This is Julie McDonald with Microcom Technologies, and I'd like to thank all of you for attending today's webinar with Grandstream. Today's host is Phil Bowers, and he is their Director of Marketing, and he'll be presenting today. If anyone has any questions, please submit them in the question box, and Phil will answer them at the end of today's presentation. Phil, I'm finished for now. Thank you so much for being with us again today. Go ahead and take it on over.
All right, thanks, Julie. And as I believe this is the first time that I've met with the Microcom community this year, I want to start off by saying Happy New Year to you all. Thanks for being with us here today. As Julie mentioned, my name is Phil Bowers. I'm the Director of Marketing here at Grandstream. In today's webinar, we are going to focus specifically on our GWN series of Wi-Fi solutions. And even more specifically, we're going to focus on the Wi-Fi 6 solutions within that GWN series, a couple of devices that are available already, as well as one of the cool things here is I'm going to give you a preview of some of the other devices and other Wi-Fi solutions you're going to see us release this year. Obviously, everybody, we're traditionally known as, and still really the bread and butter of our business is unified communications and VoIP solutions. But as we've covered here in these webinars before, for about the last 5 years now, we've had this great GWN series. It's all part of, our kind of corporate mission to be able to be that one-stop communication solution provider. Really one of the few companies in the world where you can buy every product, solution, and management system that you're going to need to build a communication solution. And the latest expansion of that is our Wi-Fi solutions, which again have been out for just about 5 years now. But you're going to see that moving forward, our Wi-Fi solutions are one of the major, it's what we're relying on to be our major growth driver moving forward. Obviously, we're not going anywhere on UC VoIP, and we'll continue to provide and continue to expand the solutions we provide there. But in terms of this year and moving forward, you're going to see us focus a lot of our marketing around our GWN series and our Wi-Fi portfolio. So I wanted to tell you about that today, give you a quick overview of it, tell you about what's new, and give you an idea of what you're going to see coming out this year. We have between 15 and 20 different GWN products coming out this year, including a whole range of new products that we do not currently offer. So without further ado, let's get going. Want to start out, should kind of introduce the GWN series already. But to continue to kind of go off on the our growth strategy really revolving around this series, like I mentioned, the GWN series over the last 2 years has been our fastest growing product line. It really provides everything on the management side, the access point side that you're going to need to put in a really an industry leading top of the line Wi-Fi solution. And as I mentioned a moment ago, a whole bunch of new products coming out this year. It's really something that we're focusing a lot of our efforts on. A lot of our research and development money is being spent here. And as I mentioned, it's really going to be a big focus for us on the marketing side as well. Before I go into the specific products we're going to talk about, I always like to show this slide whenever we're talking about our GWN series, just as a kind of a quick way to communicate what is so great about this series and why we have so many customers around the world that love our GWN series. The first thing and the thing that I think that we, even with Grandstream, sometimes forget to highlight is we offer 3 free management options. We have GWN Cloud, which is our AWS-backed cloud management platform. I'm going to go into more details and specs on these management platforms a little bit later on. GWN Cloud is unlimited, no limit on the amount of access points. It's fully free. If you would prefer that functionality, but you would prefer it within a software client, we offer GWN Manager. That is a software client-based management platform for Wi-Fi solutions, again, fully free. And the other great thing is all of our access points have a built-in controller, which means every single Grandstream GWN series access point can set up, manage, and control networks of other GWN series access points. That controller built in will support either 30 or 50 access points, depending on which AP you're using as the controller. So 3 free management options, super quick and easy installation. We have our GWN Cloud app, which has a barcode scanner built in. You just scan the barcode on the back of the device and it adds it right to your network. We have a whole portfolio of indoor, outdoor, and long-range Wi-Fi access points. And this portfolio is going to more than double this year. And I'll go into more details on that in a moment. In addition to that, we also have built into the access points and built into all of those management options over there, real-time monitoring alerts and reports, again, available on all of our access points and management options, really just giving you the ability to build an enterprise-grade solution that you always know what's going on with it, that gives you the ability to have the system notify you when various alerts occur, to put in place automatic firmware updates, to put in place automatic maintenance processes and whatnot. So again, quick overview here of the whole GWN series and kind of what allows it to stand out and why it's really been so successful for us. As I mentioned, over the last 2 years, this is our fastest growing product line. So in terms of the access points, what I'm going to show you here are our current solution. When I show this slide later on in the year, there's going to be probably about 10 to 15 more access points on it. So you're going to see a lot of new stuff from us, mostly on the Wi-Fi 6 side. We do currently have those 4 Wi-Fi 5 access points over there on the left. And the 2 that I'm really going to talk about and focus on here for today's webinar are the GWN 7660 and the GWN 7664, which are both fully launched and available, and our first 2 Wi-Fi 6 access points. I'm going to go into more details on those later. So should mention, these are indoor access points, and then we move on over here to long range and outdoor access points. All of these guys do at least 300 meters in range, so they're all long range access points, and they're all built with IP66 certified weatherproof casing, which makes them outdoor compatible as well. We also have plenty of clients that utilize these guys indoors in larger warehouses and whatnot, that are fairly open to just extend the range that they're able to offer with those access points. There's a mistake on this slide. The 7630LR is not Wi-Fi 6 certified, although within the month of March, we will launch our first Wi-Fi 6 long range access point. So that is our full current portfolio of access points. One thing as we begin to kind of move into the main topic here, Wi-Fi 6 and our new Wi-Fi 6 access points, we do want to point out that all of our access points and all of our GWN series devices that come out from this point on will be Wi-Fi 6 certified. And this certification is from the Global Wi-Fi Alliance. It requires really rigorous certification testing, both on our end and on the independently run Wi-Fi Alliance's side. And again, our ability to say that these are Wi-Fi 6 certified devices just means they've been tested thoroughly, both internally and by independent labs, and that they are affixed with that official seal of the Wi-Fi Alliance that these are recommended devices. So not only are all of our devices from now on will be Wi-Fi 6 certified, but Grandstream is now also an official member of the Wi-Fi Alliance, which, as I mentioned a moment ago, is the worldwide network of companies that essentially develops, maintains, and brings to the market the current Wi-Fi platform and Wi-Fi standard. Again, it's an entirely independent organization, really just to promote common Wi-Fi standards, common Wi-Fi technology, to promote the advancement of Wi-Fi technology around the world. And we are very excited to be a member. And then also, as I mentioned on the last slide, to have all of our upcoming, any device we come out with from here on out, be certified by this Wi-Fi Alliance. So let's get into Wi-Fi 6 access points. And I know that, or Wi-Fi 6 in general, and I know that I'm probably not the first one to tell you about Wi-Fi 6. I'm sure it's not the first time that you've heard about it. Many of you might even be pretty well versed on it already. So just to give a quick refresher, Wi-Fi 6, the latest and greatest standard of Wi-Fi, basically started to really hit the market towards the end of last year. And you're now seeing a lot of different manufacturers that are deploying it, and you're seeing a lot of device manufacturers that are, really going out of their way to market that their devices are compatible with Wi-Fi 6 technology. And really the reason for Wi-Fi 6 and what it is, why it was developed, was to address the much more crowded networks that we have nowadays. When Wi-Fi 5 technology was created, there was no, smart homes or Internet of Things, or there were not nearly as many devices connected to Wi-Fi networks as there are today. And that's exactly what Wi-Fi 6 was created for, to maximize the amount of devices that can be connected to the same network all at the same time, to support many different users and many different devices. Just to, real quickly give you a really good visual that I often use in explaining kind of why it's able to do that. Wi-Fi 5 and the transmission, the way the transmissions work over on the left, Wi-Fi 6 on the right. With Wi-Fi 6, it actually is able to break out all of the packets of information that are being sent and received by the access point to devices out there. It's able to break them up into individual streams that go directly with that specific information out to the endpoints. Rather, as Wi-Fi 5, it packs everything for a wide variety of devices into one signal, which just takes longer and is more, has more traffic and whatnot. So Wi-Fi 6 just maximizes that transmission efficiency out to endpoints and back to them, or excuse me, back to the access point. Another great thing that Wi-Fi 6 has added is this BSS coloring, which another pretty good visual here. Essentially, the APs on your network are able to actively work together to figure out where there is a dead zone and where their efforts need to be basically coordinated to provide, wide-reaching, high-quality Wi-Fi connection. So we have currently two different Wi-Fi 6 access points in our portfolio, the 7660, which we launched towards the end of last year. I want to say we launched that in December, maybe November. And then the GWN 7664, which we launched just last month in January. That is our newest member of the GWN Wi-Fi 6 access point family. So we currently have these two devices. They are both fully released and officially launched, and should be fully available for purchase. And as I'll show you later on, and as I mentioned before, there is 10 to 15 new access points that are in our portfolio. A couple of them I think I'm going to highlight towards the end, but there'll be a bunch more coming out in the spring and summer and into the early fall of this year. So lots of new devices you're going to see from us. Again, really one of our biggest growth drivers, or at least what we're banking on as one of our biggest growth drivers moving forward. So let's go through these two Wi-Fi 6 access points. The easy way to think about it, I'm actually going to go back to the slide here. The 7660 is more or less your kind of standard mid-range Wi-Fi 6 access point, whereas the 7664 on the right, that is the highest powered access point in our portfolio. So pretty easy way to differentiate the two. So let's start with the 7660. Again, more of a mid-range Wi-Fi 6 access point, and that's mainly just because it's got 2x2 multi-user MIMO. You'll see that the 7664 is going to have 4x4 multi-user MIMO, so it's double what you're going to get on this device. Also, in terms of the mid-range capacity, like I mentioned, also applies here to the speed. You get a support for up to 1.77 gigs per second with the 7660, 175 meter range, 256 concurrent clients. Just like all of our access points, it has advanced QoLs built into it to ensure the real-time performance of low latency applications, a bunch of settings within the user interface that allows you to kind of set that up and utilize that more. I'll go into more later on the enterprise grade security features, but you'll see that we offer quite a bit more security protection on all of our access points than most of our competitors do. and the 3 free management options like I mentioned earlier. So the 7660, it's got that 2x2 multi-user MIMO, allows it to support up to 256 concurrent clients, a range of 175 meters, and provide up to 1.77 gigs per second in terms of wireless throughput. Obviously dual band. I think there's nothing I didn't cover on the last slide here. You get 573.5 megs on the 2.4 gigahertz band and 1201 megs or 1.2 gigabytes on that 5 gigahertz band. Obviously dual band Wi-Fi. 256 concurrent clients, as I mentioned earlier. And as you'll see when we move over to the 7664, the 7664, like I mentioned, is on the basic, it is the most powerful access point we have. That device is actually going to support up to 750 concurrent clients. So the 7660 is a great mid-range access point. Sorry, I didn't mean to go back there. Great mid-range access point for those getting into or putting in Wi-Fi, modern Wi-Fi networks. I would say the 7660 is a great option for your small business or small to medium-sized business, retail shops, stuff like that. 7664, like I mentioned a moment ago, this is the most powerful access point currently in our portfolio. It supports up to 3.55 gigs per second in wireless throughput. It also has those 4 internal 4x4 multi-user MIMO, so 4 internal antennas, which is pretty much on the max end of what you're going to see on the market. And one of the biggest differentiators here, I think there's 2 that really differentiate this device a lot to me compared to others that it stacks up against, and I'll show you a slide coming up of a couple of competitors' models that we think we offer some great advantages against. But the 7664 supports up to 750 concurrent clients, and yes, we have thoroughly tested that for months. You're not going to find too many other access points, especially in this class, that are going to support that many concurrent clients. Another really cool thing about this device is it gives you 2 network ports, and one of those network ports is a 2.5G port. So it's got a 2.5G port and a 1G port, so 2 different ports there that give that just between them up to, what is that, 3.5 gigs. One of our major competitors on a similar device only gives you 1 network port. And it is only only a 1G network port, which can lead to some traffic and bottleneck issues. I'll go into that more in a second. 175 meter range, which is pretty much what we're going to offer on most of our indoor access points. Again, the advanced QoS, and again, the 3 free management options. So again, 7664, highest powered AP in our portfolio, 4x4 multi-user MIMO. It's got those 2 ports, 2 network ports, including a 2.5 gig port. 3.5 gigabits per second total wireless throughput, and again, the 750 concurrent clients. Just going to take a quick drink of water. All right. So obviously dual band, I guess we don't need to really show this slide anymore. Dual band is more or less a standard feature. It is a standard feature. But anyway, so again, 3.55 gigs per second. 1.47 on the 2.4 gigahertz band, which, as I'll show you in a second, is double one of our competitor similar devices, and up to 2.4 gigs on the 5 gigahertz band. Again, 750 concurrent clients on the 7664. So here I'm going to show you a quick slide. This is a comparison chart of our 7664 specifically. So I do want to mention here that we're specifically talking about the 7664, which, like I mentioned, is the highest powered access point in our portfolio. 2 different unified devices that we identified and that some of our partners identified as competitive competitive devices. And, you know, those are 2 of Unify's more popular access points. And this slide points out a number of advantages that we offer in over those 2 devices with the 7664. One of the things that's not on the chart that I do want to point out is that all of our Wi-Fi 6 access points use the Qualcomm chip, which is pretty widely regarded to as the most, basically the best quality, highest powered Wi-Fi 6 chip on the market. UniFi uses MTK chips in their devices. I mentioned the 2 different ports. That is a big differentiator between ours and the 2 UniFi devices, which, one of them, both of them will list, the U6LR lists 3 gigs per second. The U6 Pro lists 5.3 gigabits per second, but both of them only have one gigabit port built in. Our 7664 provides full-scale Wi-Fi 6, which means that there is Wi-Fi 6 technology on both bands. If you look at the U6 LR, it only provides Wi-Fi 6 on the 5 gigahertz band. We provide full-scale 4x4 multi-user MIMO, meaning that it is 4x4 MU MIMO on both bands, whereas the U6 Pro only offers that on the 5 gigahertz band. And I touched on this earlier, we also offer almost double the 2.4 gigahertz throughput on the 7664 than what you get on both of those devices. You also, just a couple other things you see down there on the bottom, double the amount of SSIDs per device, the 3 free management options, which we offer, again, a big differentiator that we're constantly hearing from the market, and the wireless security. I mentioned this a moment ago, and I definitely want to highlight this. We probably touched on it on previous webinars, but as you can see, in terms of the Wi-Fi encryption technology, pretty standard for most manufacturers. The thing that we add that most other manufacturers don't have is everything that comes after that in that wireless security slide. So anti-hacking secure boot and critical data control lockdown via digital signatures basically gives the access point the ability to monitor itself, and if it thinks that anything is strange is going on, or that it is being hacked, it will actually lock down the access point, lock down all the data connected to the access point. We provide unique security certificate and random default password per device as well. So a lot of other manufacturers are going to have the same default password on every device, which, as you're setting up a network, really leaves all of your network vulnerable until you go through and change the password, whereas every single one of ours has its own unique, different password. We also use different security certificates on all of our access points for each device that connects to it, just to preserve the data security and access there. So that is the 7664 specifically in comparison to these 2 UniFi access points, which offers quite a bit of advantages. So we're probably moving here towards pretty close to the end of the webinar. I'm going to cover our management options here in a little bit more detail. Then we're going to start to wrap up, and I'll tell you, basically, I'll give you a sneak peek at many of the other devices you're going to see from us this year. So let's go with, okay, so management options. As I mentioned earlier, and actually I've mentioned this a couple of times, I guess, we offer 3 free management options. Basically, you have an embedded option, a cloud option, and a software option, and they're all completely free. There's no paying for extra features. We provide every feature and every functionality that we can possibly offer, all for free. The embedded, which is the controller built into the user interface of every access point. Again, that is built in, it is fully free. It allows you to, it's great for smaller deployments, gives you the ability to just use one of those access points as the master access point to control, set up the network, set up the SIDs, set up the other access points. So yeah, great for smaller deployments, fully free, built into the user interface. That embedded controller supports either 30 or 50 other Grandstream access points, and that whether it's 30 or 50 depends on which AP you have. So again, great for local deployment there on the embedded option. GWN Cloud, the one in the middle, this is without a doubt, our most popular option. Our own research shows that about 80% of our networking customers are utilizing GWN Cloud. This is a fully free to use cloud platform. You can go to gwn.cloud and sign up for it and start using it immediately for free. It is based on Amazon Web Services, so it brings that 99.9999% reliability, all the great data security also that goes along with it. I know we have some competitors who use proprietary-based cloud platforms, and there's a ton of different issues that have arisen from that. So again, GWN Cloud, fully free to use, based in the cloud, so it gives you the ability to utilize it from anywhere, to combine multiple sites onto one account. There is no limit on the number of access points you can set up and utilize and manage with any GWN Cloud platform. Has a great mobile app as well. GWN Manager on the right, that is everything that you get from GWN Cloud, just built in a software client. Specifically for Windows, again, free to download, great for local server deployment, probably great for a larger network deployment. Smaller ones, you could use that embedded, and GWN Manager does have a maximum of 3,000 access points that it can support. So 3 different free access points, or wow, 3 different free management options. All of these work with every Grandstream access point that exists now and that will in the future. All right, so I'm going to wrap up here over the next 4 to 5 minutes by giving you a preview of some of the stuff to come this year. As I mentioned a couple of times here, one of our primary growth drivers moving forward is the Wi-Fi space. We've seen a ton of success in it. As I mentioned, it's been our highest grossing, or excuse me, our highest growing product line. The Wi-Fi market in itself is gigantic. It really follows kind of our evolution of what Grandstream has become, and again, our mission statement to be that one-stop communication solution provider, being able to provide everything you need for a business communication solution. And networking is, certainly in 2022 the core of that. Again, I want to say it again, our UC, VoIP, all of that stuff, everything you know us for, that's not going anywhere. We're going to continue to expand that. I'm sure within the next year or so, we'll be up to 120, 130 different products. But again, that really is what differentiates Grandstream as a brand, and something that we're really excited to be able to deliver all those possibilities to our customers and partners. All right, so in terms of what you can keep an eye out for in 2022 on the Wi-Fi solutions, the first thing is, as I mentioned, there's 10 to 15, the slide says 10 to 12, 10 to 15 other access points currently in development, which will be launched this year. Are going to see these 2 devices will probably be launched at the end of March or into early April. These are our first 2 long-range Wi-Fi 6 access points. You can see they share similar model numbers as the 2 indoor APs I told you about here today. So as you can probably fill in the blanks, the 7664 LR will be the highest powered long-range outdoor access point we have. The GWN 7660 LR will be a great Wi-Fi 6 access point for more mid-range or mid-tier developments. You can keep an eye out for these devices to come out, again, probably in March, if not early April. And there are a whole range of other Wi-Fi 6 access points in development that will come out later in the year. And I'm sure we can give you a preview on some of those other ones in our next webinar. Another thing that has frankly been somewhat missing from our portfolio is routers. If you know the GWN series pretty well, you know that we have, was it GWN 7000, a router that we launched 3 or 4 years ago, along with the initial GWN series devices. We essentially have a lot of customers that were big fans of that, but took a step back a couple of years ago, decided to redevelop and rethink the way we're looking at routers. And you're going to see a bunch of routers come out from us this year. Some will be Wi-Fi 5, most will be Wi-Fi 6. You see the pretty sleek look and feel to a couple of these devices. The first ones you should be seeing hit the market probably in May or so. Really sleek look and feel of it. Some of these are going to probably be targeted more at wireless internet service providers or those types of service providers. Some of these are going to be great for work from home, remote workers, and then we'll also have your more enterprise grade business class router as well. So keep an eye out for these. Be 3 or 4 routers coming out at least this year, and you should see the first couple pop up around May. Also, something that, to be honest, that I am just, we're all still kind of, at least from the marketing side, learning about these devices. But later on in the year, I'm going to say probably around the fall, we will launch a series of P2P solutions, which there'll be, I think there's probably 4 or 5 different ones being developed right as we speak. So we'll should be able to provide more details, maybe some possible specs the next time we do a webinar. But obviously, this is brand new to our GWN series solutions. This really kind of takes it up a bit, looking at basically, these are really targeting carriers in a lot of cases. So yeah, there's a ton of different potential with P2P devices. And I think probably a future webinar would be worthwhile for us to spend a little bit more time, talk about those devices, who deploys them, what they do, that whole 9 yards. But just wanted to get this on the horizon. This you can expect probably in the late summer, early fall will be the first P2P devices that we roll out. And I think I've got one more slide here before we wrap up. And I do. I have no picture for this one, but this is also something that's really been, frankly, missing from our networking portfolio, probably our telephony portfolio also. But we are in development and we'll launch again, probably towards the end of the year. I'm going to say end of Q3, early Q4, a line of PoE switches. And this is something that I've heard for years how, especially over the last couple of years, how hard these devices have been to get. But we have had our customers and partners asking for PoE switches for years, honestly. We were able to get our management on board with it, and we're really excited to roll these devices out. Again, another essential device that you need for a business communication solution, which you'll be able to get. So when you place those orders for, the phones and the access points and all the other endpoints you get from us now, that you've had to look for outside switches, and now you're going to be able to order switches from us too. Again, that's more towards the end of the year. So we'll touch on that a little bit more later on in the year. So a lot of stuff coming from us this year. As you can see, lots of development, lots of emphasis, lots of investment within the GWN series. Total, I think it's 15 to 20 different devices coming out this year. Bunch of access points, new routers, P2P solutions, and PoE switches as well. So I want to wrap up. Actually, before I wrap up, I'm going to take a quick drink of water here. All right. So before I wrap up, we were talking all about traditional Wi-Fi networks here today. One of the great things about us being a complete communication solutions provider is that we not only have everything on the Wi-Fi solution side, but we also have a variety of Wi-Fi capable VoIP and UC endpoints that would allow you to install an entire communication solution through Wi-Fi. And basically, over the last 2 years since COVID popped up, we'll say about 6 months after that, when people started to initially try to get back in the office and rebuild the office, and even slightly before COVID, this is something that we're really seeing start to become very prevalent. It has a lot of different advantages for a lot of different reasons, and we could probably hold a webinar on that whole topic. But just in general, it allows you to put in a wireless business communication solution, which is great for the modern office where people are always moving around or going from home and back. You've got these Wi-Fi capable devices that can essentially be used from anywhere. You don't have to worry about wiring. The speeds and the quality of Wi-Fi networks now are as good as a wired network. Makes it super easy to install, easy to add devices, very easy to manage, eliminates wiring, which is in a lot of cases the thing that often brings the network down or causes network issues. So just want to get that on your horizon. We've been talking about this for a couple of years. One of the reasons being because we're one of the few companies that provides everything that you would need, both the networking devices as well as the communication endpoints to do so. So this is something we're really seeing become very prevalent in terms of new deployments, Wi-Fi based communication networks. All right, and with that wraps up my presentation for today. I want to thank everybody for joining us. Really looking forward to, as we go throughout the year, telling you about and really showing you a lot of these new devices and upcoming devices that I mentioned. Yeah, so you're gonna see a lot from us on the GWN side of things this year. It's gonna be really one of our big marketing focuses as well. And as I showed you on a couple of slides there, we're super confident that we have built some really high quality devices that provide a lot of benefits and advantages to what else you might be using. So with that, I will wrap up and I'll turn it back over to Julie for any questions.
Thank you very much, Phil, for that wonderful presentation. And yes, we do have questions from the audience. Let's go ahead and get started with the first one. Regarding barcode scans, does it auto-configure devices based on rules set through GWN Manager Controller?
That is a very good question. I believe the answer to that question is yes. I, to be honest, probably need to follow up on it, but everything that my understanding is yes, it can scan it in. If you have set up and you're adding that access point to a certain network and have some, standard configurations loaded into that, it will be able to then pick those up when you scan it in. One thing I should point out that I don't know if I was super clear on, the app that I mentioned is the GWN Cloud app specifically. So you do need to be using GWN Cloud to utilize that mobile app and the barcode scanner.
Thank you so much, Phil. Next question here for you. Are both the GWN Cloud and GWN Manager accessible anywhere?
Yes, they are. And they're utilized anywhere. Worldwide, the great thing about using AWS for the cloud is it makes it easy to follow, the GDPR standards and all of that, data security standards that are beginning to really increase. So yeah, that's why we use AWS for the cloud. Makes it easy to use it anywhere. And in terms of Manager, yes, the software also can be used anywhere. It is only available, or specifically available, for Windows, though. I should point that out.
Thank you, Phil. Next question here. Are the non-outdoor APs capable of working outside under enclosed patios?
I guess the answer technically would be yes. There's there's no weatherproof protection built into the casing of that. So technically the answer would definitely be yes. I would say it probably might have more to do with where you're putting it. If it's in a location that could get some side wind that blows some rain up to it or some snow, I might think twice about it. But if it's in a pretty secure covered location outside, it should be no problem.
Great, thank you very much for that, Phil. Next question. How many networks can a single GWN Cloud account manage?
That is, I'll be honest with you, I do not know the answer to that question. Whatever the answer is, and I will follow up, it's a lot, whatever the answer is, because there is no limit on the amount of access points that can be utilized with GWN Cloud. So I'm pretty sure that whatever the limit of networks is, it's in the hundreds or thousands. But I will follow up on that. I apologize for not knowing that.
No problem. If it's in the hundreds and thousands, we're good.
Perfect. It's definitely in the hundreds or thousands.
Okay. Next question here, Phil. Are access points omnidirectional?
Yes, they are. Very good question. All the access points in the entire portfolio are all omnidirectional.
Great. Next question. Regarding Wi-Fi 6, since all of the devices will be Wi-Fi 6, are there any revisions or any devices that you currently have that might be phased out?
So that is a very good question. I wouldn't say so. You're going to see some new Wi-Fi cordless IP phones come out this year. What I was going to say is nothing's necessarily going to be phased out. We're just going to add some more devices, endpoints that do support Wi-Fi 6. So we've got, I actually probably should have talked about this. Excuse me. We have, I think it's 4 cordless Wi-Fi IP phones that we're planning to launch this year. 2 you're going to see, one you'll see in March, and likely the second one you'll see by the end of April. And both of those will support Wi-Fi 6, whereas the 2 we currently have will not support Wi-Fi 6. We have a couple you'll likely see some new video phones from us this year. Those video phones are all Wi-Fi capable. The current portfolio will not support Wi-Fi 6, whereas the new ones we're coming out will. That's the concrete updates that we have right now. Again, nothing's going away. It's just kind of some couple of things being added, which again goes to what I mentioned earlier. All the UC VoIP and all those endpoints. We're going to continue to update and increase and expand all of those the way we always have. So yeah, there'll be a couple of other updates in terms of having Wi-Fi 6 compatible endpoints available, but I think those are the main ones I can share right now.
Excellent. Thank you, Phil, for answering all of those questions for us today. And thank you to everyone who's attending today. If you have any further questions, of course, please feel free to contact your sales rep or email us at sales@microtech.com. If you wish to view any of the products mentioned or shown here today, please visit us at www.microcom.us. And remember, this presentation has been recorded and will be uploaded to our Microcom YouTube channel so you can view it again. Thank you so much again, Phil, for your time and for all of your interesting information and all of your upcoming products that we are all looking forward to. Everybody, have a fantastic day.